Welcome to the Channels Book Club. We begin today's episode with an exciting announcement. If you're a student of any secondary school in Nigeria, Channels Television and the Channels Book Club is giving you a special opportunity to win a sponsored trip to the 2013 Frankfurt Book Fair in Frankfurt, Germany. The Frankfurt Book Fair is described as the world's biggest annual book fair. To participate, simply get yourself a copy of Chinua Achebe's all-time classic, Things Fall Apart. Read it and write an essay not more than 1,000 words on the book. The best 10 will be shortlisted by an independent panel of judges. Yona Oyegun Masade, the managing editor of Kachifo Limited, Silva Inze Ifedibo, author of The Funeral Did Not End, and Aderenle Shonariwo, the director of the Modern Day School of Art, who will narrow them down to 3. This edition is being supported and sponsored by Lufthansa German Airline, Latana Books, and Goethe Institute. The first runner-up will be sponsored to the Ake Arts and Book Festival in Abeokuta this November. This festival is billed to be the biggest of its type in Africa, while the second runner-up will get a library of books. To get all the information, please visit www.channelstv.com. And if you believe you can win, you better start reading. The Channels Book Club is set to lead a revolution in Nigeria's book and literary culture. This is just the beginning. We'll be right back after this break. Losing My Virginity by Richard Branson. Business at the Speed of Thought by Bill Gates. Only the Paranoid Survive by Andrew Groove. Miracles Happen by Mary Kay Ash. What do they have in common? Well, they are all books written by successful American entrepreneurs. Young and established entrepreneurs often find such books very inspiring and instructive as they navigate through their own entrepreneurial journeys. After all, who else can teach you how to do something better? Kehinde Kamsin is the founder of the popular sweet sensation Confectionery Limited and is the author of Pots, Pans, and Spoons. Tokunbo Talabi is the founder of Superflux Group and the author of an entrepreneurial handbook titled The Mind Games. They joined us to discuss their exciting books. You don't want to miss those interviews.
All you need to succeed in business has never been hard work and never will be. Yes, you must work very hard, but to believe that this is all you need is to be completely naive about how life or business works. You need the right gifts and talents, the right people, the right products and services, the right location, the right disposition, the right timing, and plenty of God's favor.
It opens with a gate of arts, moves into windows of creativity.
She finds the only English word she knows from somewhere hidden in the belly of a 4'9" body, and instead of "I won't care," she greets us with "bye-bye."
Branches into rooms of color. And ends with a roof of imagination.
Walk into Art House. The pieces all come together at 9:30 p.m. every Saturday. Art House, life is art.
So thank you for coming on the Channels Book Club.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you here.
Certainly, it's a pleasure.
Tell us about your book. It has a very interesting title, Pots, Pans and Spoons. What's it about?
Honestly, this book was a great accident. As you already know, that I was encouraged to write this book 6 weeks before it was finally published, and it is really a delight that I ever put pen to paper and wrote a book. I'm proud of it because it relays, it's basically a recap of my business life, and it touches a bit about the people closest to me, my husband, my family, my siblings, my parents, and who along the line inspired me. And generally, it also contains a word of advice for aspiring business people, for women in particular who are trying to juggle, the home front and a business life or a career, and who don't seem to be making that balance, and who are really confused, as a matter of fact. So, and it has a few guidelines. It talks about me, my philosophy, my personality, and whatever that may have helped me to achieve. And of course, it unveils, the core fundaments about my personality. It unveils the place of God in my life, and He is whom I am grateful to for everything that has come my way. And generally, I think it's a good book for anybody who's serious-minded and wants to get a hang of business in Nigeria and needs to take a leap, a bold step, and is afraid to. In Nigeria, we get scared about everything. Sometimes we are so scared that we are so scared about being scared, and we are scared of everything, especially when you find it difficult to take a bold step. You usually need somebody to guide you. You need an example. And I think by the visibility of our business, our brand, it's enough conviction, because it's something you see everywhere. And it's enough conviction for those who are doubtful and who are afraid to start the same things that, we all went through. It's good to be able to tell a story to encourage others.
The book says a lot. What's the central message you would like whoever reads it to take away? There are so many messages there. Is there one that is very close to your heart?
Well, I think first and foremost, you will not be anything until you decide you want to be something. So you have to take a bold step to change your lot and to move forward in anything you do in life. So, and which means that procrastinating, waiting till the very ideal time, the best time for anything, may not always help. And of course, there are those things that the business school does not teach, that has significantly improved my lot and the lot of this company. And that is that, you see, we all know that drive, tenacity, hard work, and all those things matter. Research, excellence, does matter in moving forward. But we also know that there are those things that nobody teaches in the universities or in the business schools that make a huge difference in the sustenance of a business. And that is, I'm not trying to be religious, but I'm forced to say what has worked for me. And that is the part that God plays in a covenant business. Is covenants are real, and it can take its own part and hold your business firm and help your business to be sustained, and can really, really open a whole world of opportunities that you would never have had before. So I think that is really core to the sustenance of our company. It has really helped our company.
What's it like for you when you remember about 30 years ago when you started, from the garage of your family house back then?
Yeah, it really is a story of very humble beginnings, because while the production floor was the backyard of a very young family home, the sales floor was the gatehouse of my parents' house in Ilupeju. And definitely it's about humble beginnings. You're starting from nowhere. And yes, it's not as though we have achieved everything, as you know. And I mean, life is a continuous learning process. We have not achieved anything. If anything, the problems of doing business in Nigeria gets wider and bigger. But honestly, when I look back, I don't even have the right words to describe the gratitude and the privilege I feel, because it started like an accident. It's like, let me just get something doing outside the home. I had left a lucrative job as an accountant just to have more time to family, as I was having children in quick succession. And I found myself doing what I love doing best, cooking, serving. So a small shop opened somewhere, a very mini shop. And before I knew what was happening, it was bigger and bigger appetite, wanting to stand out better. And it was outlet number 1, and I would say, okay, I don't want any more. Just one is enough. This is too much trouble. And then the second one comes along, and then the third one comes along. And, at some point, I was ashamed to announce more outlets because I had said to people, no more, no more. So it just tells you that nothing is impossible with God.
Welcome to the Channels Book Club.
Thank you.
You used to work with one of the leading banks in Nigeria for a number of years, and then you quit. Yes. Then you started your own business. What has life been like as an entrepreneur in a difficult business climate like Nigeria's?
Fact that I want to look at it from two sides. First is living, and what is living. I think thinking back, I wouldn't have wanted it any other way than to have left. What did I experience between that time and now when I could say this is that it's been, in the early days, things were a little bit rough, really rough. And then suddenly things started unfolding. And today, I think that it's been very good. No matter how you look at it, you're still better off on your own than in any paid employment.
Reading your book, one might wonder, was it a little bit rough or quite challenging?
It's like a roller coaster packed into little space. In the early days, it was really rough, but it wasn't an extended time. So you can say that if you base the roughness on time, it took very short time for us to say, okay, at least we're achieving something. The other side of it is that in that short while, we went through a lot, especially those who started with me.
Okay, your book now, it has an interesting title. The Mind's Game. Why that title, and what inspired you to write the book?
Well, over the 15 years that I have been in business or been on my own in business, I've gone through a lot of transitioning in the way that I relate with things. And the whole essence of the Mind's Game, and I think that every time I reflect back on the title, I think that I have it spot on in terms of what I wanted to communicate. The Mind's Game is essentially about life. The reason why we are here is because we need to pass something to somebody out there who's listening to us. We need to create an impression in their mind. And so, in our own mind, we have conceptualized what we want to project. And we are putting it in the medium and in the ambience that will convey the message to the third party. Believe me, that is the fundamentals of all businesses. If I want to sell, I need to present what I want to sell to you. I need to convince you that this is the thing to buy. And so I need to affect your mind or share a good part of your mind. People who advertise on a daily basis is because they are fighting for the share of the mind. So everybody is on a stage and we are all playing the mind's game. If you get it right, it's going to open so many doors for you. It's going to be like you have the magic wand. If you miss it, and there are so many components of that mind's game that I've discussed in this book. And it's just basically like pouring myself out to say, for you to be successful, let's not look at the traditional business, the hardcore things. Let's look at the soft things about influencing people and getting people to buy your ideas and put money to that idea. And then what do you need to do? The person you are going to talk to, okay, is already there. You can't influence them. You can't control them. You can only do things that will make them voluntarily come to the space you want them to be. So it's just like saying charity begins at home. You first have to understand yourself, understand what you want to sell, how you want to sell it, and then present it in the manner that the other party wants to. So you also need to understand the way the mind of the other party works. And that is the whole essence of what this book is trying to portray. How to get you to that, to realize that in every stage in life, in any phase in business, there are a couple of minds at play. And if you don't master how to control those minds to get them to where you want them to be, you will never be successful. No matter what the things around you, the infrastructure you have, and so a lot of businesses fail because they fail to play the mind's game. They fail to understand that people are at work here, the people's perception. And perception is everything. If people think that you are good, then they give you the chance of a good man. If people think that you are bad, they block you away because they don't want to waste their time. How do you make that impression? And then when they listen to you, are you reinforcing that goodness or you are reinforcing that lack of goodness? That's for me is the whole essence of why I feel that people should read this book.
What's the most difficult thing that an entrepreneur in Nigeria has to face doing business in a country like this?
Two things, really, which I think, from my own experience, will be the two main issues. The first one is the people's skill, the professionalism or the skill level of the people that work with you. There is a big gap there, a very big gap. The second one is what everybody talks about in terms of infrastructure. You don't have things to work with, there's no electricity, you are almost like a local government unto yourself. But over time, it is predictable. You are not expecting anything in the horizon overnight. So you tend to deal with those things that has to do with infrastructure nicely. Over time, you plan yourself, you organize yourself. But the people part of it is turbulent and challenging. Every day, new things come up. People, no skill at all. So most of the things that we do, we practically have to start everybody from scratch. And that requires a lot of training and all that. And then when you're about settling down, people entice them away. And now we've come to realize that it's a matter of fact that people will come and people will go. Organizations will entice people. So we too, we've stepped up our games and all that. But today, it is still the challenge of people, the skill level, the level of commitment they have to the organization, integrity and forthrightness, especially in the kind of things that we do, teaching them good values that has to do with corporate governance. People seem to be, have difficulty in adapting to it. But by and large, over the years, the people who have stayed have come to settle with it, and I think they're enjoying it. But the people who cannot adapt, we quickly get them out of the system. Thank you for
It's a pleasure having you.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Yes.
The Authors Talk event is organized by the Gofe Institute, Lagos, to provide a platform for young and emerging writers to present their works to an audience of publishers, journalists, and lovers of the arts. This edition had Tracy Osokolo, Eko Eke, and Falowo Damilare as the invited authors. We'll be showing clips from the event. Please join us after this break.
When I got off the bus, those boys were still there. By now, 3 of them had put their hoods on their head. One was wearing white, the other was sky blue, and the last one wore black. They all wore very big white sneakers. I did try to check the brand. They were still hanging around the bus stop. There were only 2 people at the bus stop now. I sat for 2 minutes to decide my next step. Then, the boy who was wearing the black hood came over to where I sat. His friends were behind us. He sat next to me and asked where I was going. I responded, home. He asked for my name and I said, Amaka. I didn't want to tell him my real name or my first name for that matter, but I didn't want to keep silent. I was already terrified. I had no idea how I was going to get home. He looked dangerously weird to me. In my mind, I still hadn't separated him from his gang. I assumed they were all the same and that they had intentions, good or bad. I got up and said I had to go. I waved him by and left him there. I started walking to my right. I've noticed that whenever I'm confused for where to go, whenever I hit a T-junction or the crossroads, I always go right and then ask for directions. I never go left then ask for directions. I did it as a child and I still do it as a woman. The one place in between left and right, I always go right. Most shops were already closed and the roads were getting lonely, fewer cars running on them. I asked the couple I saw standing next to a waste bin for directions to the train station. The girl said I should head on right and that I wouldn't walk for longer than 5 minutes. I thanked them and kept moving. I turned periodically to make sure that the white wannabe black gang boys were not following me. I didn't see them. I quickened my pace.
Very deep in the seas of our real consciousness. It is you as you speak. Give way to new shimmering rainbows. Clear skies that testimony as your rain. Let me trust in a bubbling fountain of a long for hope. For you are your love. In whose veins flows the blood of valiant warriors and resilient allies. Let truth be your guide. The musty scent of you fills my nostrils. I smell you in the bathroom, in the bedroom. I smell you in warm soiled sheets that speak of spent passions for the century where our love, molested companionship, lost it. There's a devil in my heart, bound waves rushing to shore.
Our books of the week. Yes, we have 2 books today. Our Pots, Pans and Spoons by Kehinde Kamsin and The Mind's Game by Tokunbo Talabi. Get yourself copies, read them, and tell us what you think.
Hi, my name is Ebuka Obuchano. One thing you need to know is that some of the biggest heroes and mentors, Nelson Mandela, Indira Gandhi, all loved to read books. So why not pick up a book today and read it? Because reading is very fundamental to who you become in future. And keep watching the Channels Book Club.
As always, we'll be happy to have you on any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.